All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome to another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2025, number 257, and today, um, I've been doing a whole lot of nothing today, just kind of relaxing. I finally, so the way my brain works, um, I will have periods of time where I will get what I consider adequate amounts of sleep, which is about 5 to 6 hours. I know for normal people that isn't, but it's the longest my brain will let me stay asleep. And so I'll have short periods where I get every night I get roughly 5 to 6 hours. And then I will have periods where I can't sleep for longer than a couple hours at a time, and it really messes with my head. Um, so last night was the first time in like 3 or 4 weeks that I actually got a decent amount of sleep. Um, and instead of me like waking up super refreshed, it's one of those the things where it happens and I wake up and I'm like, oh, and I just kind of like everything kind of relaxes. I go, finally, I got real sleep. And so sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when I get into that thing where I can actually sleep, I will just spend an entire day just kind of relaxing and trying to kind of catch up on all the rest that I haven't gotten for weeks or months at a time. So that's what I've been doing today is just chilling, trying to relax, regain, especially with everything that's been going on recently, regain a little bit of my own sanity. But I've also been doing some work. So, work. I've been thinking about Dark Sun. Um, so, again, I'm in the active planning stages of my December campaign. It's going to be using Draw Steel as the TTRPG, and I'm going to be running a Dark Sun campaign. So the first two big things that I have to do is I have to come up with a um, elemental magic or elemental divine magic system because again, clerics and druids and the things like that um, don't worship deities. They worship a an elemental sphere is what they call them. So since there are two divine classes in here, I have to come up with a way so that it makes sense that these are elemental characters, um, uh, not divine characters. And then the second thing I need to do is I need to develop a defiling magic system. And I've been working on both of those. But the one that I've actually made slight progress with is going to be the elemental spheres system. So in Draw Steel, the two divine based classes are the Censor and the Conduit. So, um, the way that both of them work is, and basically, the Censor is akin to a Paladin style character. It's a more martial divine class. The Conduit is much closer to a Cleric, where it's a more spellcasting focused divine class. Now, in Dark Sun, there are no paladins. There is a character class known as a Templar, um, but that effectively is their version of a quote unquote divine cleric. So theoretically, we could call the Censor a Templar because Templar do tend to be a little bit more martial focused. Not exclusively, they still cast lots of spells. Um, but they're, to be perfectly honest, Templar are a little bit closer to a warlock than they are to a paladin. And then obviously the conduit is kind of your traditional cleric. So the way that they work is when you choose both of these classes, when you choose them at level 1, um, you choose a deity or a saint for both of them, and the each deity and saint has a list of domains that they focus on. So the deity or saint that you choose doesn't actually matter. What does matter is the domains. Uh, for sensors, they get to choose one domain, and that domain is actually going to give them a number of features. Things like the death domain um, gives them a feature called grave speech, which is basically speak with dead. Or the war domain gives them a feature called sanctified weapon, which allows them to bless the weapon so it gets a bonus to damage. So pretty basic stuff. And then as they level up, their domain gives them more features and the things like that. So as far as like mechanics wise, if I need to come up with an elemental sphere system, I actually don't really need to worry about deities at all, at least as far as the sensor is concerned. All you have to do is really figure out which domains fit into which elemental sphere, and we can kind of go from there. The conduit is similar, wherein, again, it doesn't really matter the deity that you choose. It's the domains that are important, and the conduit actually has 2 different domains that they get to choose, because most deities have 4 domains, so they get to choose 2 of those 4. And each one gives them an additional way to earn piety, and also it modifies how their prayers might work. So the solution that I've come up with, that I haven't finalized yet, but I think this is what's going to work, is there are a grand total of 12 domains. If you divide that by 4, it gives you 3. So this is my thought. I'm going to, there are 4 elemental spheres, and so I am going to take fire, water, air, earth, and I'm going to divide each domain into one of those 3 spheres, so that when my players, if either any of my players decide to play either a sensor or a conduit, I can go, okay, these are your 4 elemental spheres, and these are the domains that they that are a part of that. Yeah, I think that will work, and I think it'll allow my players the kind of freedom of using all of the system, while also allowing it to fit into the Dark Sun world. So now I just have to sit down and figure out, which thing is going to go in which place. Like, I'm relatively certain the storm domain is going to go in the air elemental sphere, and probably the sun domain is probably going to go in the fire elemental sphere. Beyond that, it's going to get weird. So I'll have to figure out which ones fit in which place the best. But yeah, as far as the Defiling Magic system, I'm still kicking around ideas. Again, I've looked at the rules for Defiling Magic from 2nd edition. I've looked at the rules for Defiling Magic for 4th edition. I actually own the 4th edition Dark Sun campaign setting. I have a PDF of it. Because Drive-Thru RPG is awesome. So I'm kicking around ideas for that. Right now, again, if we look at the 2nd edition version of it, it was basically Preservers were just regular spellcasters mechanically, and then Defilers just got to level up faster and got a few things faster. And I don't think I really like that, because I don't think it really kind of conveys the idea behind Defiling Magic, the fact that you're literally destroying the world with it. And then fourth edition, there wasn't any rules for preserving, but they did have a defiling um, ability that you could get that basically allowed you to re-roll certain attack or re-roll attack rolls on certain spell attacks, and then as you leveled up, if you took an epic destiny or a paragon path that was related to defiling, it would allow you to do more kind of interesting things with the defiling. And that one I like a little bit better, especially once you start getting into the paragon path stuff, because then we actually start seeing it as something that's kind of taking away life from around you. But I'm still not 100% sold on that idea. So right now, what I'm thinking is anyone that chooses to defile, kind of similar to how it worked in second edition, where if you cast a defiling spell, everyone took a hit to their initiative that was within the area that you cast the defiling spell on. I don't think I'm going to go for an initiative hit, but I do think I'm going to have something happens at any time you cast a defiling spell. Everyone around you is affected by something. There's a lot of different kind of status effects and other things that are built into Draw Steel, which is something I really like. I like having a lot of different conditions and status effects. I think it makes the game more interesting. And so I might flirt around with, well, maybe anytime you defile, anyone around gets afflicted with this status effect for one turn. Or we have a counting system where the first time you defile, all that happens is like plant life is around, or if there's enough plant life around. That's another thing I've been kicking around, is the idea of the way that defiling works lore-wise is it draws energy out of plant life. In order to draw energy for defiling spells out of humans, you actually have to have what's called an obsidian orb. So without that particular magic item, you technically can't use living beings to power your defiling magic. So the idea of, if there's not enough vegetation around, you just can't cast spells, I think is kind of an interesting idea from a defiler standpoint. But I don't know if I want to limit it that much. So what I'm thinking is anywhere they go will have like a vegetation rating, which again is another thing that happened from second edition. And then that allows for a certain number of defiler spells to be cast within that area. Once those spells, and that'll be everything from your signature abilities, which are your at-will kind of stuff, up to the stuff that you have to use your more powerful stuff that you have to use your limited resource for. So once that's out, then more progressive bad things start happening. So that's kind of the ideas that I'm kicking around right now. And then I'm still slowly kind of writing this story that I'm going to tell. But yeah, so that's basically what I've done. I played a lot of World of Warcraft today. And then spent a decent amount of time trying to figure out this defiling system of magic, because that's what I did do. Anyway, so yeah, this is something that I never do. Anytime I go, interested to hear from you guys, what did you think about this thing that I said? Since all I was doing was kind of resting and working on things that will become important later on in the year, what are you guys doing right now? Like, legit, like, what's something that you're working on, whether it's, if it is something at work that you're allowed to talk about. I highly recommend, avoid saying anything specific about your job ever on the interwebs. It just, bad things happen. Or is there a hobby that you're pursuing that something bigger has happened, or you've had, something that you did that you're proud of? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd be interested to see, or even just tell me what like hobbies you tend to do when you're not working. Like, obviously, we all enjoy a good tabletop RPG, but there's other things out there as well. So maybe you paint minis a lot, or maybe you do like I don't. Oh, you can't see it because I think it's too high up. No, you can't. It's right in the corner there. I built my first Gunpla over a year ago. Now. And despite the fact that I didn't think I'd be able to do it with the tremor, it actually worked really well. I had a bunch of fun building it. So yeah, I like Gunpla. I've only made one. I have a second one. I have. I don't think I can get this out because it's covered in stuff. I have a second one, which is the. It's the generic bad guy, mobile suits. My brother found it on sale or something, and so yeah, it's just the generic bad guy mobile suits. I have that Gunpla that I need to do, but yeah, I like it. I think it's cool and fun. Anyway, this is gonna be all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.